Alright, the very first best of 5 of our WardiTV Christmas Day Games 2021. $1,600 on the line. In the top right, our red Zerg player is Reynor. Bottom left, our blue Zerg from Dragon Phoenix Gaming is Rogue. I'll just take this chance to say hello, YouTube! How are you all doing? This is the WardiTV Christmas Day Games, but this is a bit of an interesting situation. I just explained this outside of the game. I'll very quickly go over it once again, but we've got 8, now 7 players, because unfortunately one player didn't show up. We've got 7 great players: Björn, Reynor, Rogue, Clem, Zest, Dark, and Cure, all fighting over $1,600. The last year we did the WardiTV YouTube Invitational, and this is basically that, only I'm also recording it and putting it up on Twitch on Christmas Day to give people a little bit of Christmas Day StarCraft. So I hope you forgive me that I used the YouTube marketing budget for this year and the YouTube tournament budget this year on something that we will still also work out for Christmas Day. But I thought it was nice to get something on Twitch on Christmas Day, as I'm not able to live cast myself this year on Christmas Day. So I just thought this would be kind of a nice little compromise. And, you know, if you're just a YouTube viewer, you'll probably not notice much difference. This is all going to be cast ahead of schedule. There's going to be very minimal difference at all from your point of view. So I guess really you shouldn't mind at all if you're just a YouTube viewer. And I would like to say just thank you so much for being a YouTube viewer. I've had some trials and tribulations with YouTube lately, but when I brought them up in a video, everyone was very supportive, very positive, and just got me thinking, like, I'm just complaining about nothing. Made me feel a bit silly, honestly. So shout out to you guys. Really appreciate you all, and hope you enjoy these best of 5. So very quickly for the YouTube viewers, the bracket looks like this. Björn got a free win in his match, so he sits in the semi-final waiting for the winner of this best of 5 ZvZ. And then on the lower half of the bracket, the matches are Clem versus Zest. Winner of that plays Dark or Cure. And that's how it goes. So it's going to be the 3 quarterfinals first, then the semifinals, then the finals. Each of these matches should just be uploaded one day after the other from December 25th to December 30th. So enjoy the next few days of StarCraft, and really do hope you have a good time, as these guys were nice and went Hatchgas Pool of Peace playing the mirrored build order, so I had nothing to talk about other than introducing the tournament to you all. So one last thing just before this kicks off, with a couple links on either side. I just want to say, if you are watching on YouTube, do let me know in the comments down below who you're excited for. Let me know who you think's going to win the whole thing. And if you enjoy the video, don't forget to leave a like and, of course, subscribe as well. This tournament is meant to promote the YouTube, so it would be amazing if we can get as much attention on it as possible. And hopefully we can, make something great of that as well. So with that said, happy Christmas, and lings are a go. Baneling Nest on either side of the map. And with that Baneling Nest coming down, we already set ourselves down into a position which will be just Lingbane versus Lingbane. Now, Korean ZvZ is oftentimes a little bit funky, one could say, where the Koreans a lot of the time will just kind of make Lingbane and then sort of just look like they're going to play a macro game, and then suddenly, boom, it's like, hey, I just rolled a dice, and the dice had 37 drones, and 37 drones is how many I make, and then I'm just going to make Lingbane and all in you. And I know that's something which Cyril has somewhat struggled with recently, and Reynor's been vocal about a lot of the time as well. So I get a little worried already when it's Lingbane versus Lingbane. And maybe that's why Reynor's approach here is just to make a whole bunch of Lings and to be the aggressor himself initially. Yes, going down on the drone count, but will now start applying some pressure. His first 2 Banes finish up. He should be able to protect those, although half HP Baneling is not pretty. That's something that you're going to have to deal with, and it's an easier target for an initial Queen hero. So as those Lings do go wrapping around the hatchery. Oh, he does lose the Baneling. Oh, did he just manually explode the other one? I think he might have done. That wasn't target fired, right? Oh, no, he had the Lings there and he didn't get them. Reynor missing out on a couple of opportunities as the Queens do push an Overlord away to the top side. 10 more Zerglings in production from Rogue. They're continuing to pour on out. And now he actually is just going to go counterattack. So in a situation where he could already just be counterattacking and droning, he's going to keep making Lingbane. I think he says, I don't believe Reynor did enough with this right away. And so Reynor might be in some trouble. Rogue coming straight across the top of the map. Reynor's attempted counterattack will try and buy him some time, as these Lings do slip by the natural and up into the main. Over here, Reynor just needs to get rid of this Baneling. He will do so somewhat effectively. Only a couple of his drones going down right now. He's got some Banes wandering along as well. And Reynor will start to kill the drones of Rogue here. So 5 drones going down. And just seeing Reynor actually looking like he's going to be okay. He's actually up by 7 workers at the moment, but Rogue is still making Lings. I think that might be the one danger for Reynor, that he just doesn't necessarily know Rogue is playing Lings, so even though he's in a bit of a lead at the moment, he maybe isn't ready for this next round of aggression. But that said, he's still got 4 banelings at the front, so he should be okay. Even if Rogue shows up with a ton more lings, the Banes at home will already buy you the time needed. And now he knows about these lings as well as he runs to the front. So it's not like this is completely unknown to Reynor. He is aware of it. As he sets up Carapace, he's continuing into the Roach Roar, and he will deal with these first couple of Banes. Oh, he's going to let this one just reach the mineral line. That's a few easy-to-kill drones. There are the extra Banes coming up from Rogue. I mean, Reynor's been doing nothing but building drones recently, so I'm kind of surprised. I mean, he saw how many lings were on the other side of the map. Did he really not think there's going to be some actual danger coming out from that? I really thought, to me, that was obvious, and maybe it was less obvious than I thought it was. As Rogue just going to come across the map, and Reynor is not ready. I mean, Reynor definitely saw this, guys. Let me just take you back. Beauty of casting the replays. I mean, he ran lings into the natural and just saw how many lings were there, right? These lings run over here. He sees all of these lings, and he knows these lings are here. I mean, right now he's built 41 drones already, right? Is that just already too many? Did he stop after that? Did he build units? He built 2 Banes. Now he built more drones. I mean, he obviously just didn't expect this round of Banes to come in. And maybe without those Banes, his Banes do a lot better. I think in general his Baneling hits could have been better in the game. But maybe without these Banelings, his Banelings do a lot better. And this is a very different situation. But as it stands, I think he just kind of got a little bit overly greedy. Maybe, again, like I say, if it's just those lings, he probably is fine just a drone. Get roaches out, he's okay. But yeah, I don't think he expected Rogue to make these Banelings, and maybe you could argue that this Overlord saw this way before he made the drones, though, as well. I guess it's kind of close, like a couple of seconds, a second or so. Alright, well, GG's. Rogue is going to take a quick, simple first game lead in this best of 5. 12, pulling it up in the top left-hand corner. It is going to be Reynor. No drone on the way. And it will be his 12 pool to kickstart this second map of the best of 5 against Rogue in the bottom right, our blue Zerg from Dragon Phoenix Gaming. Just to give you guys a time frame on when this was played, because I do think it's somewhat important for you guys to know roughly kind of when the games were played. This was played, I believe, Monday the 13th. So it was one day after Rogue. I mean, if you don't want spoilers, mute up for about 10 seconds from now. It's a day after Rogue did the stomping of Cyril in the TSL. So kind of a scary kind of prospect. Obviously, Reynor knows about those games, knows how it went, probably knows how aggressive Rogue was being, and Rogue already bringing that aggression a little bit in game number 1. I mean, this game 2 is already not good for Reynor. 12 pool against a pool first. Basically, you're doing the same thing, just Rogue's doing it with 3 more drones. Oh, and Reynor's even going to send 1 drone across. Oh, no. Drone pull? Is it really a drone pull? No. Okay, sorry. This drone actually went down to the hatchery. This drone was just checking forward to open up the minerals so the lings go across faster. Okay. I was a little confused there. I wasn't quite sure exactly what was happening and why, but yeah, that little gap of the minerals opens up. The lings will start to head down to the bottom right-hand side. And they're going to show up onto a natural here, which is obviously not as far along as Reynor would like it to be. Yeah, he's basically playing the same game as Rogue, is just off 3 less workers, which is just not good. I mean, it is a very short map, Berlingrad, especially when you take those minerals out, so this is just rough for Reynor. As these lings come down, usually you'd be expecting to fight drones. Instead, you're going to actually have to fight lings. Rogue sends his lings onto the map already. This causes an interesting situation. If the lings move across, Reynor has to decide, do I pull back, and then this hatchery goes up completely for free, or do I actually just, make more units at home? There's no winning, so I think pulling back's probably the better win, because at the end of the day, what are you actually going to do to this hatchery anyway if Rogue does go across the map? And there's nothing stopping Rogue just turning back around with those lings once you've chased him, or kind of committed to the hatchery just to clean it up anyway, and then you also didn't gain much, and you probably had to respect it at home too, so kind of a weird situation. I mean, Reynor was afraid of the follow-up attack and the follow-up all-in. He's already dropping down his spine crawler in the main base, so dropping that spine crawler down, getting that positioned. Intrigued to see what the continuation of that will be as our few lings move up the left here, and they're going to make their way in toward the natural. And I mean, Reynor has plenty to defend. Did he actually keep the spine? He did, so he really is afraid of what Rogue might be doing on the follow-up. I guess. I'm not sure if Reynor knows if it was pool hatch gas or, it might have been gas hatch pool or, gas pool hatch, right? In which case, Link Speed would be finishing up. I don't know if Reynor saw enough or knew the timing well enough to know exactly that. So, yeah, just being extremely cautious, but playing the defensive cautious position when you're already behind off the build order is not exactly ideal. So, not great. The startup from Reynor here. And look at Rogue. He just says, cool, I'm comfortable. He's just going to start no Link Speed, just straight into the lair in the evolution chamber. Keep pushing out as well. Yeah, Rogue just going to play into, I would imagine, I mean, very quick lair to be fair. Maybe is there a potential that he just goes straight into mutas even, right? He's going to have 200 gas here already. He will drop the Roach Roaring down. I guess that lines up with missiles, and then he start Roach Speed. I guess you should have already had a second gas for Aspire, but there is some potential for this to still be a fake out as well. But at this stage, I would imagine you take gases 3 and 4 if you do want to go into the Spire, right? Otherwise, it just doesn't really make sense. And yeah, the Roach Roaring came down at the right time to kind of line up with the lair, so you can pretty much start Roach Speed as the lair is done. That was the one thing I was questioning. It was like a lair, an Evo chamber, and just no Roach Roaring still. There is a 3rd and 4th gas, mind you, as we're going to kill off this group tumor so we can get a full or a better wall off, a narrow wall off that only takes 1 queen. We'll put the lower energy queen in there, so you've got the transfusion in a safe position, and it is a Spire from Rogue. So he will play mutas. So mutas was not actually too terrible of a call at the end of the day, whereas that Spire is just looking forward, and it's in the back of the natural expansion. Well, with the Spire coming up, I think we do still keep the missile upgrade, and we can play Roaches after this. And look at Reynor, he's going to play into Link Speed, Lings, and a Bane Nest. Well, that does mean he can take his 3rd base, and he can absolutely harass the 3rd of his opponent. But his preparation for Mutalisks is going to be pretty minimal. Remember, he's also 7 workers behind at the moment, so yeah. And he just has no good way to scout either, right? Because he doesn't have Link Speed of his own. He can't really, run Lings at the front. So he can't tell. There's nothing to tell him that there's actually a Spire behind this. I mean, this all looks very legit. Why would you not believe this upgrade and this Roach Roaring upgrade and it's not real? Because, I mean, it is real. It's just the fact there's not actually that many Roaches. There's going to be a Spire and Mutalisks. Well, let's see what the Lings can do. The Lings might be able to keep Rogue on his side of the map, and that might be able to keep the mutas at home for a little while, so that could definitely be beneficial as well. His Zergling's going to go back around the left-hand side. Roach and a Queen. Just going to tap that Ling a little bit. More Zerglings coming down. And just seeing a couple more Lings continuing through, as well as Roach going to fire up a little bit as well. Obviously, you see that as Reynor, and still not really anything to tell you. Hey, look, there's mutas on the way. I mean, he's setting up Carapace upgrade as though he wants to play like a Roach Ling attack, but with no lair, that would be an all-in. But you're all-in into someone who's got 6 mutas on the map before you're even halfway done with your all-in upgrade. Your Roach Roaring's not even completed. And, well, here come the mutas. They're already spread now to go after the first couple of Overlords. Reynor, what do we do? I mean, he's got 500 gas, so I think he's just going to make the Roaches and try this anyway. Which, logically, I think is probably his best option. He's not in a good position no matter which way you look at it. Problem is, you can't make all those Roaches if you don't have the Overlords, and he's losing Overlords, remember, so he's actually not going to have the supply to make the Roaches, and that means that then again, I ask once more, what do we do? These Lings have the Carapace, not yet, but soon. I'm actually unsure. I'm going to see, oh my god, 25 Banelings more. So he's just going to go for a Ling Bane all-in, bust down the front, and then he can just run through. Okay, he actually cancelled the Roach Roaring, so this seemingly was his... No, he didn't. It's in the back of the natural. He's trying to hide the Roach Roaring. So yeah, he really did want to all-in with this, and... Well, honestly, the Bane bust I actually think might be one of the better ideas. Like, I don't think it's necessarily good or it can work, but I think it's a good idea, because if there wasn't already this amount of Roaches ready to go from Rogue, if he had been still building mutas, there's potential you kill a ton of drones here, and you perhaps put yourself into a decent spot. The Lings can keep streaming. If the Roach Roaring's dead, you don't have any Roaches up, right? And then it's always about the mutas cleaning up, which is not ideal. But Reynor just says this is not doing enough. Like I say, I like the idea. I like the plan. Because it's obviously, it was never his first intention. It wasn't planned to be this. This was a backup strategy in the first place, right? And as a backup strategy, I like it. It's a bit different. It's not what Rogue is expecting. And again, if Rogue was just continuing to build mutas, and this happens, say he doesn't have all these Roaches, and mutas are running here to get rid of these lings, then these lings kill these drones, for example. There's already more lings left over because they've not been fighting roaches until now. The Banes would have connected on more drones, for example. You know, there's so many things that would have been different. Obviously, Rogue played a fairly safe set of mutas, right? He only ever built the 6. It was always about the roaches behind it, so he did have the numbers to defend. That makes this look a little bit silly from Reynor, and that's why you can't just go on how it looks, right? You've got to think about what happened in the game and the decisions that were made and why those decisions were made. As Rogue is going to take a 2-0 lead. A 2-0 lead? Maybe trying to send Reynor back into some League of Legends, huh? Yay. If you're just tuning in, it's a 3. It's looking like a 3-0, right? I mean, 2-0 lead for Rogue. Pretty dominant games and just builds that are getting him ahead. I mean, game 2, to be fair, really is build order win off the get-go. Build order win on the follow-up. What I kind of wonder, though, is you look at game number 1. And that was obviously Rogue taking that first game off just some Ling Bane aggression. That also just feels like it's that kind of Korean aspect of ZvZ that the Europeans are not quite as good at. And they're very quick to say, it's so random, they just suddenly Ling Bane all in me. You know, they just roll the dice, pick a drone count, and boom, they're all in me. But if it's so random, why does it work so consistently? You know, that's the question you kind of have to ask. And Lambo was talking about this when I casted some ZvZ with him during the Netties event. We casted some ZvZ then? I think we must have casted some ZvZ then. I was definitely casting ZvZ with Lambo. Maybe I was casting with Horsem, and Horsem said this, where maybe Horsem said, it's like, well, at some point, you know, I think it might have been Horsem actually, and Horsem said, well, you know, they keep saying it's random, but if it's random, then surely it can't be good enough that they keep winning constantly with it. Surely then it should be more of like a 50-50 or even worse sort of win rate, and it's clearly not. And if it is just random, then it's clearly just good, and surely there's ways to play it. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a whole big kind of question mark of how that works, and yeah, there's definitely other ways to look at it as we do hatch gas pool. Now, it was hatch pool gas on the side of which player has less gas here? On the side of Reynor, so he takes gas slightly later. What that means is he's a little bit safer, and everything about what he's doing is safe against a 12-pool drone pull. The pool before gas gives you just a little bit of a faster pool, so you get the units out a bit faster, and those couple of seconds make a big difference when you're defending like a 12-pool drone pull, spine crawls building in your base. And he also has the pool at the front, which means the spines can't go here, here, and here, which means the spine here can't support spines moving down to the low ground, which is usually a follow-up. So that's what Reynor sets up to deal with. And Rogue, well, he is just playing very normal with his build and position and gas before the pool. So I'd say overall, Rogue edges out a lead already in the early game, just, you know, Ling speed a little bit faster, pool in a better position in case Lings come into the main. He can pop his queen between the pool and the hatchery. Whereas Reynor doesn't have that option, so his queen in the main would be more kind of free to being killed. And that could maybe cause a little bit more of an issue, a little bit more of a problem as well, right? Just going to be seeing our third hatchery going down from Reynor's, just placing that. And just going to be seeing a couple of drones continuing through, Lings on the way, a queen building up. And it is a hatchery, a third hatchery on either side of the map right now as we get this running. Cannon nest will start on both sides. So it looks as though we're just going to be seeing 3 hatch Ling Bane once again. It's a bit of a rewind back into what we saw in game number 1. Nothing really too crazy there, right? I would say pretty much the expectation is just have a Bane nest coming through, a few drones coming up, Ling speed coming in on either side. And just going to be seeing a few Lings actually on the side from Reynor. So he's again going to be the first to make Lings. So again, kind of back to what we saw in game number 1. Reynor being the first to make Lings, being a bit more aggressive initially. And then Rogue just kind of droned, and then again at some point said, right, now is when I make a lot of Lings, and he never went back into the drones. Again, usually it's almost a gentleman's agreement. I make Lings, you know, make Lings in response on a higher drone count, and, you know, basically you make the Lings enough that you defend my attack and then you counterattack. But I've been attacking during my attack, and so I've got the drone lead, you counterattack to make me make units, and it's just that kind of back and forth where they take turns in making units and they take turns in making drones. Obviously, what Rogue did was he just kept making units. He kind of skipped this, you know, he skipped his turn of making drones and made more Lings, and Reynor was like, well, that's not fair. That's not the rules we play by. Of course, it is very fair. It's all, you know, it's allowed. It's permittable. So Yeah, definitely not happening this time, though, because we've got the melee upgrade. So once again, looks like Rogue wants to go to pretty quick Mutalisks. Get into the Mutas quickly, you play from there as Roach Rowan drops down on the natural, and just going to be seeing the Queen pushing the Ling away. Queen on the third base gets a pick off as well. And a bit of back and forth. Lings and Banes kind of running at each other. This Baneling here from Rogue taking some shots. So that's going to continue through, and yeah, I mean, at this point, Reynol's probably content he's defending this, and he's on his way to a Carapace upgrade now. If he goes Carapace, don't lose 10 drones here, Reynor. Okay, that was only 5 or 6. Okay, sorry, this is going to be our first example of the day. 6 drones killed. First example of the day where we do not have WCS Game Hard active. This is the one problem with getting all the players to show up at the same time and play their games, guys. They are hosting the games, and sometimes they host without the WCS Game Hard mod. So you're going to have to excuse every now and then today, or in this tournament, when we don't have the Game Hard mod on. This is going to be the first occasion of that. That was 6 drones initially, as now Rogue gets a Queen on the right side. Spire is on the way up. I was going to say, if Reynor just kind of plays like a Roach Ling Carapace all in, I don't hate it. You know, he could hit just as the mutas are coming out or so and actually be very effective. He's going to continue droning, so he is just going to go Carapace and then play from there. Off the lair, I guess we go missiles after this. Wouldn't make much sense to keep on going Carapace. He never really saw what his opponent was doing. Now, Carapace does help against mutas, because obviously mutas have this kind of AoE attack, and every time that AoE hits, it's affected by a Carapace upgrade. So, definitely a factor as Lings run at the front. Queen blocks the wall, and we're going to see one Baneling already picked off as well, as otherwise Lings and Roaches move back around the left-hand side. Ling's going to hold out on the watchtower. Spire about to complete from Rogue. And the 4th hatchery going down on the 9 o'clock position, getting that ready to roll as these few Roaches showing up from Reynor. They're going to be there to pick off a Ling or two. And 10 meters on the way. Reynor's making a spine crawler like he's in trouble. To the harassment. He needs to be making something to actually deal with these freaking mutas, man. He is continuing through with +1 missiles and roach speed. He's making a good amount of roaches, but he just doesn't know what it actually is. He has no idea it's mutas until right now. And Reynor, I mean, let's look at his point of view. Immediately just going to drop down an infestation pit. He starts 3 queens. Doesn't look too panicked, just kind of getting himself set up. I mean, it makes sense. You can't allow yourself to get too panicked at this sort of level of play. You just have to be ready to deal with it. What does that queen count at? Only 3, so he really had, like, 0 preparation for these mutas ahead of time. What can he do? I mean, he could start to send the roaches across the map. The problem with that is it's going to cost you all your roaches. You might keep the mutas busy for a while and keep them out your mineral lines, but then you're giving up your ground army. And you do need something of a ground army when Rogue has played that +1 melee, because his Lings are going to be a little bit better than usual as well. So you can't just be giving up your entire ground army, as Reynor, heavily supply blocked, is now starting to lose. A couple of queens here, loses one, the other will get away. And the Spore Crawl at the front there finally finishing up, but that's another Overlord going down. We turn around for this Queen, doesn't get it, and he flies into Spore and Queen range to lose one more muta while getting that Queen. So it wasn't the worst in the end there for Reynor. Could have been a lot worse, but again, just this position between the bases. His Overlords are flying here, and I mean, he's trying to push Spores into position to push these mutas away from it. But Rogue finding some good initial damage, as we will see 4 additional Infestors on the way out from Reynor, so bringing those into the next few moments. Those will start to help zone these mutas, and obviously a couple of fungals here and there can go a long way, especially as the mutalist count gets higher. I already feel like Rogue is doing a very good job going up to 5 bases now. He'll want to go to like a really strong muta count, first. But what is important is also making sure you have a good transition behind this, because so often you can get stuck on your mutas, and you can take a massive lead, base lead, etc. But all it takes is a couple fungals, a couple parasitic bombs, and everything can die. And then the game can be very tricky to actually win, because your opponent surges you and you just lost 60 supply of mutas. So it is important to think about what your follow-up is going to be here as well as Rogue, right? And right now he doesn't need to necessarily. In fact, he's going to move 23 Banes and say, well, look, I've got 88 drones and a huge eco advantage. I'm just going to come in and freaking kill you, buddy. So that's going to be the initial plan here from Rogue as the mutas come in. We're going to go after the Spore Crawler. Spore gets picked off. He's just going to be seeing another Spore goes down as well. Banes will run through. And just going to go straight into this natural mineral line where a little bit of action continuing. Fungal growth's coming down. A couple of Banes getting hit by that. Roach on the right side being turned away. Nice to get an Infestor at the very end, at least. That's another reason the Infestors are good. They can fungal the Banes and keep them back. The problem is Rogue sits on a 35 worker lead, which means that he's obviously in a very good position here. He actually killed 23 drones overall in this game. This natural mineral line took a big hit, and well, Reynor was doing the right thing, sitting on 3 bases, working his way to Vipers. He's going to have another 25 Banelings rolling into his face in a few moments' time. He's going to lose the gas in the main base that he wasn't mining from anyway. And, you know, right now it feels rough for Reynor, but a lot of the time this is just how playing against mutas feels in ZvZ. They feel like they kind of, you know, really just choke you out of the game. They really constrict you from doing anything. Let's see what these Banes can do. Nice fungal on the right side really slows a lot of them down. A lot of the connections in towards the Infestors and the Queens, but I wouldn't say many kills at all, so reasonable defense again. You can see resources lost is starting to be favoring to Reynor. And you got to remember as well that resources lost doesn't count a lot of the Banelings that blow up when they attack, because those Banelings don't count as lost units, they count as Banelings that attacked, right? It's kind of a weird something, but worth keeping in mind that basically if you're ahead in resources lost here as Reynor, you're actually much more ahead than it says, simply for that factor. So there's a fungal on the mutas, but there's no follow-up to it. The Queen count's not here anymore. They actually went down to the following up attack. And the Vipers do have the energy for parasitic bombs now. That would have been the one thing that might have been really nice there, but obviously Vipers were just not ready in time. Five lurkers are morphing as we see the Mutalisks will make their way to the top of the map. Some more Banes coming through, but Connect on Roaches, I believe, kills off a Ravager. Looks like we're going to get a cancel on the 4th base here right away, and no shame in that right now. Like I said, I don't think it's a bad thing to build up on 3 bases and to... I mean, you're still getting lurkers up and stuff, right? So you're definitely helping. However, that's your 3rd hatchery going down, as these Banelings do connect, and they connect well. Maybe this is going to get out of control if you don't have the 3rd hatch to mine from. Can you really stay in the game? Can you really stay competitive? Can you just make enough to kind of hold on this onslaught of 92 drones and inefficient trades from Rogue? Again, trading inefficiently every time, but it just doesn't seem to matter as in we go. These Roaches, I mean, this time was great. He actually deals with these Banelings very well, but it's not been like that every time. Now you've got some Lings in the main base that are just going to be annoying as well. They're going to get 1 Queen, probably going to get 2. 2 Queens go down, the Roach is going to fall. Just going to see another couple of drones being picked away at, and just going to jump onto the lurk den of the Lings as our Roaches come through, and just going to continue to fight. They're just going back forward once again on the right side. 38 additional Banelings, guys. Oh, well, we did see the fungal parasitic bomb combo, but the split was still good from Rogue, and I mean, I actually don't know how important it is. He's got the Ultra Cavern on the way too, so he's got to follow up there. And with this amount of Banelings rolling in, I'm not even sure that there's enough lurkers on the map. If there was more lurkers, if this 3rd was up and he'd been producing lurkers all this time, but now already the Infestors just got blown up. Reynor's going to type out game, and Rogue is going to take the 3-0. I mean, that is kind of just brutal, right? I mean, the series does not last very long. Rogue's like, Merry Christmas. My Christmas are like my tournament finals. Unexciting and filled with just plain simple victories. Yeah, I mean, just everything Rogue did work. I want to say, like, Game 2 really was built to win multiple times over, I think. And Game 1, I do think Reynor could have been better prepared. I do feel like he had some better information he didn't make as good use of. This 3rd map, I mean, Rogue did just go straight to the mutas, and again, it felt like Reynor just had no idea. Like, he's very blind a lot of the time as to what Rogue is doing, and, you know, we hear people talk about, you know, ZvZ builds being coin flips, and, you know, not being kind of easy to read, and I don't disagree. I don't think what Rogue did here was easy to read in the slightest. However, there's you know, not being easy to read, and there's still being somewhat prepared, and Reynor just needed a little bit of something else, right? Like a little bit extra. He got to Lurkers, he got to Vipers, he got to Infestors. There's not enough of it, and the Banelings really did become deadly toward the end here. And Rogue goes 3-0 and goes through to the semifinals, where he plays against Beyond, because Beyond got that free win against Trap. So while this is the first match of the tournament in the quarterfinals, unfortunately one of our quarterfinals again was a free win because Trap forgot to show up to play his games. So it's going to be a Rogue Beyond quarterfinal. For you guys watching on YouTube, that'll be up in about 3 days' time after the rest of the round of 8. Sorry, Rogue Beyond semifinal. So that's coming up in a few days. Obviously, more uploads day by day for this tournament, guys. Tomorrow will be Clem versus Zest, the day after Dark versus Cure. So if you're on YouTube, make sure you like and come back and watch the rest of this series in this tournament, because it was initially kind of designed for YouTube. We just kind of added a little bit of a spin on it to broadcast on Christmas Day for the Twitch viewers. So GG's for now, and let's wrap this one up.